Hey everyone, welcome back. Josh Heineberry here, Truck Focus Podcast, the podcast that connects transportation industry experts to the industry to help create a pivotal change. On today's episode, I'm super excited that Avery and I get to interview a friend of ours, Mark Manera, the owner of the trucking fitness company. And anyone that doesn't know Mark, I'm excited because he's such a good guy, but you really need to. You need to connect with him if it's on social, if it's visiting his website, which we talk about in our episode. And yeah, just really excited, just all of the information that was shared. Avery did a really good job too, just asking really direct questions. And it was nice just to see Mark's enthusiasm with his answer. So really excited. Stay tuned. The episode's coming up here in a second. And yeah, thanks so much. Bye. Hey everybody, super excited to be here. A personal good friend of mine, Mark, the owner of the trucking fitness company. So stoked that you're on our podcast, the Truck Focus podcast, as well as my son Avery.
Hello.
That was a special request. Very, very excited. So for those that don't know Mark, first off, you need to. I brag about him actually a fair amount in my inner circle now. I'd say we've built a pretty strong, we'll call it a broship over the last 6 months. And it's nice when people that know me, I'm pretty animated, I'm passionate, I really like the people in our industry. And when I first connected with Mark, I was like, whoa, just high energy, really intelligent, really cares about people, which really aligns with my values. And just, yeah, the more conversations we've had, it's really nice to see consistency. He's definitely someone I consider a man of character, good business guy. And overall, just, yeah, excited to kind of dive in to explain just his passion, what he's up to. And again, with Avery being here, which is super awesome, a lot of the questions are coming from a really high level of interest. And hey, how does this work? Or how do you navigate that? So super excited to, have you both on today. So Avery, why don't you start us off with some stuff, bud?
Yeah, so my first question for Mark is, describe who you are and what makes you, you.
Yeah, no, well, first off, Josh, thank you so much for having me on. For everyone listening, Josh asked me, I said there's only one, I'll only do this if one criteria, and Avery is interviewing me. So Avery's here, I'm pumped. And yeah, that's a great question. Actually, when I first read that question, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been asked that. And I guess, how I would describe myself is, passionate, really passionate about someone who gets into something and really passionate about it and really motivated and just excited to make some type of change. And that was kind of really the spark that caused me to go down this whole rabbit hole of trucking and transportation and starting the trucking fitness company. And just kind of like Josh said, and something that really resonated with me when we had these conversations is, character first, someone who is, a man of their word, I have a base of Christianity and have morals, and that's kind of the way I live my life, and really the goal of growing a business, but helping more people in the process.
Yeah, that's a really good way of describing yourself. That's kind of like my dad too. So I like my dad. Okay, so our next question for today is, share your backstory of how you got involved with the transportation industry as of fitness.
Yeah, so I am in the physical therapy field. I'm in my 7th year of school. Of college.
Oh, wow.
I am 6 months away from graduating with my doctorate degree of physical therapy, or I guess up in Canada you call it physios, right? So I actually got started, no background in trucking at all, no family, didn't really know very many truck drivers growing up. And I actually got started working with drivers on the rehab side of things during a clinical rotation I had for school. It was, I worked with drivers in a physical therapy clinic. And from that, I really got to have some awesome conversations with the drivers, and hearing the good and the bad of being a truck driver for your career. And, you know, a lot of the bad things that they kept talking about were really the reason why they were in the clinic in the first place was their health. Right. And I had a background in a previous company I owned was an online health and wellness coaching company. And, you know, that was a passion of mine, but I knew that, to be honest, I knew that I could make a bigger impact in the world. And that was something that was really motivating for me. And so I really got inspired after hearing the truck driver stories and kind of some of the struggles that they face on the road, and kind of merging those two passions. And that's what really inspired me to start the trucking fitness company.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Hey, Avery, how long have you been in school altogether for? What grade are you in?
5, so like maybe 6 years.
So he's
Actually 7 maybe.
So Mark's been in
7.
Yeah.
university as long as he's been in school.
It all started when I was in kindergarten and you
Yeah,
just got into
exactly.
college.
That's hilarious. I think that puts a good perspective on what's possible, though, where slow and steady every day, just like, stay consistent. And I try and feed that into Avery every day. And yeah, like it's not easy, but it doesn't have to be easy. It's just what's worth it and where do you want to go. So thanks, Mark. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, you know, and Avery, something that I really struggle with, you know, personally is the patience thing, and you know, being able to wait for, you know, understanding that we got these big goals, but they take time, and nothing happens overnight, and just being able to say, hey, I'm going to show up every day, you know, focus and put all my energy into the things that I can control. And all these other things that are going on around me that I can't control, so it's not worth my energy to put into it. So let's just focus on today. And then, you know, as time goes on, take steps back and be like, oh my gosh, look how far I've came in the last 6 months, and just use that as motivation. So yeah, you know, I'm sure you felt some frustration of, man, I don't feel like I'm getting better, you know, day to day. But you know, if you go even right now, go back and probably watch your first video you ever made, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, who's that punk? Right. and
Who is that?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
So you said how you heard the stories of the truck drivers of them with the struggles over the road. So what is the biggest struggle that you've heard from them in health wise?
Yeah, you know, so the biggest thing that I have really come to realize is that, you know, the more and more you talk to drivers, the more and more you realize, you know, the mindset problem that a lot of drivers have.
Yeah.
And when I say the mindset problem, you know, really unfortunately, in our society, and, you know, this is North America in general. I'm down in the States. I know you guys are up in Canada, but just in general, unfortunately, society's kind of made drivers feel like they're on the back burner and not cared about as much. And I know you preach that all the time, Avery. And that's, you know, one of the motivators for what you're doing and the videos that you guys make. And really, with a big component of that mindset shift, or I guess the mindset problem that these drivers have, is that, you know, they don't feel like they have the ability, or really just should in general, care about their health. And, you know, a lot of it is, when you're on the road, there's a ton of barriers that are just stacked up for these drivers that's, you know, make it so hard for them to exercise, to make, you know, eat healthy, to get a good night's sleep, and do it consistently, right? You know, trying to find a gym that has truck parking, trying to find, you know, time for these people that when they're going off, and, you know, their schedule's changing potentially every single day. I know a ton of drivers have a routine schedule, but for a lot of them don't. And it just depends on what the dispatcher says that day, right? And so making it as easy for these guys as possible, where, you know, anywhere in the world at any time, they have the ability, when they've got 20 minutes, when they've got maybe even 5 minutes, that they can just say, hey, okay, what's one thing I can do to be 1% healthier in my day? And really making that mindset shift of, this doesn't have to be a perfect plan. You know, these people aren't Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, having this perfect, do you know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Terminator.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So, you know, you don't have to have this perfect plan of, you know, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I need to work out for an hour, 2 hours a day, but just realizing, okay, you're all the way over here on the spectrum. How can we just take one step in the right direction instead of having to flip everything upside down and change everything? Because, you know, I'm
Yeah.
sure that you've probably felt this in your life, of when you try to make all of these changes at once, you might last for a week, but it doesn't end up sticking. But if you just kind of make one change, you know, it's something a lot more realistic to stick to.
Yeah. That's a very good explanation. And so now we're going to talk about the opposite of a struggle, and that's success. So what has been your greatest success from personal experience in the industry?
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I'm so early on in this that we're just getting started here, and there is, you know, I can look back at, you know, when I started, we started 9 or 10 months ago, and look at where we are now, and it's like, wow, that, you know, how many people we've been introduced to, how much, you know, how open and just so accepting some people I've met in the trucking industry have been, and the connections and transformations we've seen with members who are in our program right now, and, you know, some of the companies that we're starting to get into and working with. But, you know, I think that we're kind of at this point where, you know, 6 months from now, a year from now, I'm going to look back and be like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
all of this work I've been putting in really started sloping in the right direction, and it's crazy what's happened, and what's, you know, the direction it's moving. And I think my biggest, um, you know, I think my biggest success thus far is, I feel as though I'm setting myself up in a position where the systems are in place, where we're really set up to make a really big impact on a lot of drivers. And I think that's what really motivates me, and what's really exciting. And, you know, from the group of drivers we have the encouragement and excitement they have is probably my biggest success so far. I know that really didn't answer your question, but yeah.
Oh, no, that's okay. It's okay. So how do you find people's reactions when they see you as a younger and high energy person with different drivers?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing, and you know, your dad kind of mentioned it, you know, at the beginning of the thing, is I'm a outgoing, bold, high energy person, and I think if you bring passion and energy, and you think through the situation, and you bring thoughtfulness to a person and to a situation, um, you're going to run into the one or two people that, you know, might be like, dude, you're only, how old are you? 12?
11.
11. You're only 11, right? Or I'm only in my 20s, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And those, you know, those people are, you're not going to win them over anyways. So what I've found is that people are super open to new ideas. People are super open to passionate people that want to help. And I think that there's a lot of people in this industry that realize that there are a lot of problems in the trucking industry, specifically when it comes to drivers. And, you know, these people who have been in for 30, 40 years are always open for new perspectives and ideas that can help push the industry forward.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, me and my dad talked about something like this earlier in 2020, where it's age doesn't matter if you're in the industry. Like I'm in the industry and I'm 11 years old and I'm still making a big impact. And like you're in your 20s, you said, and you're helping drivers with fitness.
Yeah, man. And I completely agree. And I think that a lot of people unfortunately get in their head about the whole age situation, and it really can be a negative thing, really on how far you can push it. And I think that if you can just say, yeah, dude, I'm 11, but I'm, kicking butt, and I'm doing something that no other 11-year-olds are doing.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm making an impact on these drivers, that can push you way further than than any person who's like, dude, Avery's only 11. I'm not listening to this kid, right? That person's holding themselves down. And I think that, yeah, you're going to have times where that person, you hear those comments and they affect you a little bit more than other days, but you just need to throw those away and just, take the positivity, realize, your mission and kind of the things that you're trying to do, and just keep those in the forefront. And that's going to keep driving you. And you don't have to worry about your age or, any of these things that people try to associate with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I guarantee you that if I didn't have dad, then I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I have no idea what I'd be doing right now.
You'd probably be playing video games, right? Is that
what? I'd probably be playing more than what I usually do.
That's right.
More.
Okay.
So what advice would you like to give for younger leaders like you and I looking to create an impact in the industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I have is that the more you put yourself out there, the more magical things and these, never before seen, I guess you could say, miracles or doors open up, right? And, the worst thing that can happen if you ask is someone says no. But I've had so many doors open up in conversations just because, I reached out to someone, I emailed someone, I sent your dad a message on LinkedIn, right? And that's how we got connected, and now we're here. And
wow.
The other thing is you never know how your interaction with someone else is going to come back as time goes on. And one example is I was messaging a guy on LinkedIn, just being super curious and kind of just open, and asked him, kind of gave him a compliment / asked him a question of, hey, you've been running this business for how long? What's your best, advice for someone just starting out? And, he answered, and we had a good conversation. And then actually yesterday he reached out and connected me with another podcast in the trucking industry and said, hey, this guy, I'm friends with this guy. He wants to do about fitness. You were the first person that came to my mind. You need to talk to him. And now I'm going to be on this guy's podcast. So, So, I think especially with where you're at, Avery, a lot more people are interested in you than you think they are. And they want to hear your thoughts and ideas. And they really look at you as, someone who's standing out, versus there's a lot of people in the industry that are kind of, just the same not the same person, but they don't stick out, and they're not a different voice. And I think you have the ability to really make a really good first impression in years, maybe months down the road, open up a lot of doors that you would never have saw open, but because of a conversation or a video you made and they saw it, you inspired them. And I think that if you can kind of keep that in mind when you're making these videos, and that's what brings your energy and your excitement for this, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so would you like to say something, Dad? Say any questions?
First off, this is awesome. It's nice when I'm a big believer in the farm mentality. or there are seasons of life where all it feels like you're doing is digging and digging and digging, and obviously building trenches, putting in irrigation, and then there's just a season of seeds where you're just planting seeds all over. And then when you finally get something of fruitation, this right here, like we always call it a family mission, and this is 1,000% fruitation of, we're like probably close to 24 to 28 months in of just grinding different directions, trying different things, because we want to create a positive impact. And Avery 1,000% owns it. Mark, you 1,000% own it. But it's really nice to see, just like you mentioned, Mark, you shot me a message on LinkedIn. We basically built a broship from there. And then all of a sudden, yeah, here we are. And it's like, yes, let's enjoy some fruits of our labor by having quality conversations that I really know is going to trickle effect into other areas, which is super exciting. And yeah, for Avery, it's nice to see, just like I can see the wheels are turning and I can see him actually hearing what you're saying, Mark, versus just dad. I can get a little preachy at times and he's kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's nice to see just the reception of it. And yeah, I think this is, again, a perfect example, Mark, why I'm such an advocate for what you're doing, because it's not just about money and it's not just about fame. It's not about, oh, look, my name is somewhere. It's these type of conversations where 5 years from now, I know Avery's going to look back. I'll look back and say, man, that was powerful. And that's who you are. So I'll always upsell the authenticity, because or I think that's how you pronounce the word, you just being real. And it's really nice, just again, uplifting Avery asking questions that I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. And again, although it's coming from my son who's 11, you could be 65 and that's the first time you've ever thought of something that way, just because that's how it was said, which also speaks to the power of the podcast. So I did have a couple of questions. One thing I really wanted to talk about, Mark, is our future adventure that we're working on together. But more so, I want to use this platform. I think a lot of people that build podcasts, they want to use the platform to create a change, create some form of a movement. And mine's all about sharing expertise, introducing industry experts. So from maybe someone that, I don't like talking about the pandemic, but we're in the pandemic still in Canada, and someone's struggling, they don't really feel like, I don't really want to do that workout, or they're really stress eating and they're really kind of going down like a dark journey. What's some encouragement that you'd want to share? Or if I was that person, for example, what would you share with me? Just a little, get as holistic as you want. We're all pretty open here. It's just, what kind of advice? Because I think that's really needed right now too, because people are going through a darker time. So what's your advice for someone that's going through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that I would come is, meeting them with empathy and showing, hey, we all go through those times, and it's only making it worse if you beat yourself up about missing a workout or eating Panda Express one day, right? And I think the thing that I would really, really try to do is, instead of kind of coming at it from a, hey, you need to get back on the routine, is, hey, you're at this point right now. What is one thing that you could do that kind of gets the ball rolling, or, for the trucking people out there, gets the tires turning, and kind of gets the momentum going back in the right direction. And, that could be a walk, that could be a 5-minute workout, that could be instead of a Big Mac and large fries and a Coke, it could be a Big Mac, a Coke, and a small fry, right? It doesn't need to be this huge transition of it's all or nothing. We are all, me included, go through these periods of time in life where it's just like kind of droomy, right? And it's just not there. And I think that if we try to, I think some people really like to pull your boots up by the straps and get to it, but I don't think that works for everyone. And I think if you can just kind of find, hey, what is the one thing that you're motivated to do, or that's easiest, that you can kind of change in your day-to-day routine, that can make you 1% healthier. And that's kind of the path that I would probably go, and trying to help these people get back on, and just kind of really continually rooting on, hey, it's okay, it happens. You can't control any of that happened yesterday or any time before, but you can control what you do today. And today's the best day to kind of get back on the ball, right? And that's kind of the whole mentality that I would go at it from.
Nice. Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
What you said about empathy is 1000%. And I try and bring that every day too, where like, yeah. So that was very good advice. So for those that are listening, I just kind of felt the nudge to ask. So I have a feeling that's going to be really impactful on someone's life. So kind of just quickly on the focus, to focus just on the trucking fitness company, just kind of as we come to a close. Can you just talk quickly on how do they find, like, I know there's an app, which is exciting. I know there's a website. I know there's a social media. So just kind of in like a quick 30-second, 45-second summary, because I wanted to briefly touch on what we're working on together, because yeah, I know we're going to do a lot more of these, which is exciting, but just to kind of in close.
Yeah. So we work with individual drivers, owner operators. We also work with on the corporate wellness side of things with corporate companies and trucking companies. Our website is truckinfit.com, truckinfit.com, or we're the Trucking Fitness Company on all social medias, or on LinkedIn. You can find me, Mark Manera. If you're not an individual driver and kind of wanting more of the corporate side of things, I do a lot of content on there and really would love to have a conversation with you about anything trucking, and feel free to DM me. And yeah, if we're really trying to make it as easy and as accessible for these drivers to exercise and live a healthy life on the road. And it not only impacts the driver's longevity, but it really in the long run is going to make a huge impact on your company, from a culture standpoint, but also from a leaving money on the table side of things. So yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So briefly, I just wanted to plant the seed again in the farming mentality. Do you want me to share what we've been building on the side?
Yeah, do it. Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously this is a podcast, and Mark and I share, well, I'll include Avery in this conversation right now too. We share a passion to create a virtual and an audio impact. So we're working on something called Merging Lanes, which is going to be a North American wide podcast, really helping, I would say, realign and change the directory of the transportation industry for people in it. So from Mark mentioned, some of it's corporate, some of it's drivers, and I totally adapt the same mentality. So we're super excited to have that launched here right away. I don't know if we can say a specific date, but we'll keep it very near future. And it's just going to be I'd say a really cool vibe. It's going to be industry changing. And like I said, a big scope. So North America, that's quite a big footprint. But yeah, there's a lot of people that we're really excited to serve. So I'm personally super stoked on it. Obviously, with a smile on Mark's face right now, for those that are just listening, it's because I'm here that he's excited too. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that's awesome. So it's called Merging Lanes. And yeah, once there's more information, we'll definitely share some more through these channels and through Mark's company as well. So was there any final thoughts that you'd like to say, Mark?
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about the podcast we're doing. Again, Avery, man, in 10 years, when you're big stage talking at these trucking conventions, just remember us little guys. Just give me a signature at the end of your talk. I'll just be holding your picture up. But no, just remember that you never know what doors are going to open up with a single conversation. And you are 11 years old. You've got a ton of time and impact that you can make, and there's no limit to kind of the place or direction you can take it. So set your goals high and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Avery, was there any final words that you wanted to say to Mark?
First of all, thank you for going onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And the videos, you said you only watch the videos if I'm on the cover.
Well, no, I watch them all, but I perk up a little bit and get a little bit more
Yeah.
exciting. Turn the volume up when I see Avery on there.
That's awesome. So, but yeah, Mark, honestly, it's been an honor, and I know this is one of many. So it's a see you later, not a goodbye, and all that jazz stuff. But yeah, I honestly, I 1000% endorse Mark. I think the trucking fitness company has already impacted people. That just the trickle effect alone, it's going to just continue to be like a mass movement across North America. So highly recommend connect with Mark. You can obviously reach out to myself. I always include all of our contact details, social medias, all that in the show notes. But yeah, 1000% Mark's got my support, and we're super excited for everything else to come. So yeah, thanks everyone. I really appreciate everyone being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks.
Well, I have a quote. I have a quote for today,
Nice.
Oh, let's hear it.
and that's solve problems in steps. Like you said, like how you were talking about that, Mark.
Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
Who said that quote? Oh, you okay? Avery, I'm gonna quote that. I thought this was a famous quote. I love it.
I think I created it.
You
I
have
don't
to
know
dab.
who created
You
it.
have to dab. Once you dab, it's yours.
Yeah.
There. Now
All
I claim
right.
it.
Awesome.
Solve problem in steps. I love it. Awesome.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you really enjoyed that episode where Mark Manera, the owner of the trucking fitness company, Avery and I, we really dive into a couple different topics. I feel Avery did a really good job just interviewing Mark, and I really appreciate Mark's enthusiasm just talking about our industry, talking about youth in the industry, the well-being of professional drivers, and why he's doing what he's doing. So I've included all of Mark's information in the show notes, so I highly recommend you check out the trucking fitness company, connect with Mark on LinkedIn, on all social media platforms. I know he's all over the place, and he's just creating such a pivotal impact. So yeah, thank you so much again for checking out the Truck Focus podcast. If you haven't already, I ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just simply press that little red button, and then it really helps just growing our community, growing our impact. But then you're also notified of upcoming just different video clips that we do throughout the week, as well as different episodes that yeah, we have different experts coming on as well. Check out our podcast platform. So it's on our website as well as on all major platforms where podcasts are hosted. So you can check that out in the show notes as well. And as always, if you ever need anything, if you ever have a question, a concern, you can always reach out. We're trying to build an allegiance with tons of industry experts that are just really creating an impact for people like us, because again, we're industry as humans. And yeah, if you ever need anything, you can always reach out. So thanks again for checking out the Truck Focus podcast, and I hope you have a really wonderful day. Bye.